So if you're watching and you're a nonverbal parent, just know that psychic individuals like ourselves are here to help you to connect to your children. That's what we do every single day. And we're talking to adults about it, and we're talking to verbal people about it.
Yeah.
And the things that we focus on telepathy, but also remote viewing. And to break it down even further, we take it further than telepathy.
Right. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
'Cause telepathy, it's like the gateway is like guess the object, but it's for a much bigger reason that I know you can explain beautifully.
Yeah,
So.
this is what we hone in on and focus on all the time. We never use the word telepathy in our work because to us it's like the ABCs, it's the building blocks, it's the 1, 2, 3s of our work. So we're always talking about the consciousness. We're talking about the advanced self communicating to the world, to each other. So look at it like this. When you are in front of an individual who's psychic, and you're standing there looking at them and talking to them, they are automatically, without trying, automatically getting a read on you. What does that mean? I know it sounds nefarious. It's not. Yeah. Basically, all it is that you're an open book. Okay. Now, a lot of people don't like that. I get it. And that's why our world needs to evolve, where we are more like-minded and loving human people, individuals, so that we can help each other more. But right now, since there's a lot of division and there's a lot of arguments and there's people with attitude and there's people being mean and there's trolls online and people like to make fun of everybody, blah, 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 that we have going on. It's like a very kind of, it's a rough place to be a psychic. It's not a friendly scape. It's you got to be a warrior to be a psychic who's out, who's very verbal and open about being out, because you have to be able to take anything and everything. And it's not just online, it's also in person. So basically, and I'm not talking about healers right now. Let's just talk about the average psychic. So let's say you're psychic and you're a psychic being, and then this person steps in front of you. And this is for both parties to understand. So the person steps in front of you, the psychic being, the person, is getting a full read on you. They can see your insecurities. They see what your inner thoughts are, your dialogue. They see where you're hurt. They see what you don't trust. They see your fears. They see what you're concerned about in the moment. They see if you're present or not. They see where your focus and intention is. They see how far back you are removed from reality. If you're in an altered state or a fantasy world, or you're dealing with a biological, like actual mental illness, they can see if you're unhealthy. They can see if the body's out of balance. There's no homeostasis. They can see what core belief systems you're working with. This all happens within a micro millisecond. Yeah. So it's much more than telepathy, right? Your kids, these kids, and I know the tapes are called the telepathy tapes. They should be called the conscious tapes. It's far beyond telepathy. Yeah. What the children are feeling and what psychics feel is the whole entire field. They read your whole entire auric field. They feel where you are everywhere, including what you're working on. Yeah. Where you are at in your study of self, what you're working on in the world, where your blocks are. That's why psychics become shamans. And that's why the ones that want to turn this into a modality, like myself and my husband and yourself in different capacities, and my daughter, is what we're doing is we're taking this information that's naturally occurring to us, that we naturally get, and we help the person to find the areas where they're blocked from getting what they want.
Right.
It sounds simple. The hard part is the trust factor, because the person who's being read gets very uncomfortable how open of a book they really are. And what is really hilarious to us, and that's why we have a sense of humor, and that's why we dress up in costume, and that's why we're playful, and that's why we have a space set, and that's why we do everything we do, is because we know it's harmless. What we know is that if everybody operated from this place and allowed themselves to be psychic with each other and not block themselves through dogma, rules, science, and all these things that say we're not allowed to do this, or making it a scary, witchcrafty, like some sort of voodoo thing. Instead, they're looking at it as we're here to help one another, to uplift one another. So imagine if both parties now, which is like me and you, like we're a perfect example. So we feel each other, we're psychic, so we feel each other continuously all the time. Now we don't have to be in the same space. Right. She can be far off doing something,
right.
and I still get the same feelings, and she can too. I can tune into anybody. Now, as far as like where Riz and I are at, we're at a place where we can see a name from a text from someone.
Right.
Like someone on our live chats on Sunday nights, they'll text us and they'll say, well, what's going on with my housing situation?
Right.
And what happens is the second they say that, and the second we get their name and we can find them, it's a very automatic feeling. And what we do is we get a visceral feeling, and that's where the empathic side comes in. The more empathic you are, the more you can feel the full range of emotions that someone has. And so if you're a highly sensitive empathic person or an autistic empathic person, which they're the same, autistic and empathic, they're the same, because you are empathic if you're autistic, and nonverbal because you feel everything in your environment. Yeah. So if you are that and you're connecting to somebody, you can get the read and you can see where they're having trouble. So I just kind of in a nutshell and kind of encapsulated the entire aspect of the beginnings of what telepathy is and the full scope of what we do. But now let's take it even further. Now let's take it universal. So it's past just what the advanced psychics on the planet can do that are honed in and making this their modality and working with people like us. Now let's go past us. Now we're going into the bigger realms of consciousness, what we call universal consciousness, which is where the collective hangs out in our own hill, which is the universal consciousness of the planet. So if you see trends and ebbs and flows in political structures, in health structures, belief structures, and what we believe we deserve, etc., core beliefs, the news and what people are promoting, as you start to see trends in this and see how religion is playing a part and science is playing a part. And if you step back far enough, you can see where the collective is. You can see what we're all talking about. Yeah. And that's a macro of what they do, the kids do on the hill in the micro. Yeah. So what we're doing here as psychics, communicating to other people on the planet, and then if you pull way back and see what everybody's doing, unbeknownst to you, we're all communicating psychically. So this whole planet is communicating psychically. Now let's take it further back from there. So imagine where we started with the telepathy tapes. Now we're pulling way back into space. Okay.
This is why I love you.
Okay. Now we go further back, and now we're talking to the outer realms, which is the inner realms, but it's a deeper, more significant place where creation is really occurring in the microcosm, in a macro view. So basically what that is it's encompassing everything I just said. And now there's even more information happening in this place. Now I'm going to call this place the other side, heaven, not here in the 3D reality, different dimensional planes. Some people call it the 5th dimension, the 12th dimension, whatever dimension you want to call it. But it's other dimensional, but it is where our higher selves reside. Reside is a big word. So that's where our consciousness is actually actively working with other consciousness that are at the highest intelligence, that is working with these bodies and avatars here. Just like the autistic kid has to work with their limbs and their body and figure out how the connection works. And their parents are trying to help them understand how to do that, which is very, very technical, which is helping the parents become more advanced. So what happens is our higher self is working with these avatars, me and Erica, like our bodies, and teaching us how to navigate and create in this 3D reality and create what we want here. So it is no different in many ways. It's learning how to heal the body, learning how to eat, learning how to take care of ourselves, learning how to be in homeostasis. So we're kind of doing the same thing on a larger scale. So our higher self, our conscious evolved self, knows all of this. There's no separation. Right. We don't think that one person is different than us, bigger or better. We're all bringing our own talents and gifts to the equation, and we're all helping each other. So that's the collective. And that's what's actually the unifying force. That's actually oneness. That's actually what's happening. And our avatars down here are trying to get the message and help each other. So those brave souls who put their neck out and allow themselves to be kicked in the teeth every single day by people who make fun of us, we're saying, listen, we're here in peace, and we're trying to teach you how to navigate in your human body and how to actually communicate with each other and trust your instinct, intuition, and your psychic abilities, and be able to heal the planet and raise the vibration, therefore evolving our planet. And like Tesla says, if we can just go into the non-material world and evolve, like Ky talked about, if we can do that, then we can advance so fast and more and cover more territory than in human history. But we all have to agree that this is real. And what is real? It's whatever you say it is. So that's my take on that question.
Wow.
That's what I love talking about. That's my favorite topic in the world. I love to discuss that because I think everybody needs to understand it.
Yeah.
No, anyway, now let me come back down to earth. Okay, let me bring myself back into my body. Okay, so these tapes are so important